Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be drafting a short with an elastic band attached to the waist. Let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is to create a start line. A start line. This is 1/2 inch for my start line. Now from the start line, this short I'm working with a length of 16. This is 16 inches. I'm going to be adding 2 inches for hemming, making it 18 inches. I'll place the same thing here, 16 by 18, 2 inches. Draw a straight line this way. So we are going to label this as FL, full length, and here as start line, SL. So the next thing we are going to place is our crouch depth. Like I told us, it's going to be having an elastic band. I intend to attach a band of 1.5 inches. So I'm going to remove 1.5 inches, place 1.5 inches on the start line, and mark my crouch depth. I'm working with a crouch depth of 11. Now the next thing you're going to do same thing here, removing 1.5, make a mark at 11 inches. So the next thing you're going to place is your hip line. Hip line, remove. So before we place the hip line, let's connect this point, our crotch depth. Make a straight line and label it CR, your crouch. Now to place your hip line, remember we are removing 1.5 inches, which will be for the band. My hip line is 9 inches. 9 inches. If you don't know how to get your hip line, from your crouch depth, go up by 2 inches. Can you see? Then you connect this way. Now we are going to start placing our measurements. Like I told us, it's going to have an elastic. So here we are not working with our waist measurement. Now because it's having an elastic band, we are not using our waist measurement. Rather, on the waistline we'll be placing our hip measurement. My hip is 12.5. 12.5. This is my hip, 12.5. Place the same thing on the hip line, 12.5. Place the same thing on the crouch line, 12.5. Connect the 3 points together. If we were to making use of a zipper, we wouldn't have done this here. Instead, we would have placed the waist measurement. My waist measurement is 10. We would have placed our waist measurement instead, but now we are not making use of a zipper and elastic. To enable you wear it freely, you use your hip measurement on. So after connecting it this way, at this crouch line, remember this is our hip line. Sorry, I didn't label it. At this crouch, you're going to make an extension. Because of my size and my kind of body, I'm going to be adding 2.5 inches here. I'm going to be making an extension of 2.5 inches to create the curve we're supposed to have here. Then at this angle 90, I'll go up by 1 inch. So what I'm going to do now is to curve from this point here and here. Curve, make a connection here, here, and here. I'm going to use my curve. Make sure it's touching the 3 points. Then you connect this way. So we are done with this upper part. Coming down to the full length, this part, I want to shape it a bit because of my body shape. Yes, I want to shape this part a bit, this down part a bit. For me to do that, I'm going to come here and go in by 1 1 inch, 1 inch. So my measurements here, I'll be taking, instead of taking it from this point, I'll be starting from this way, meaning I'm going to connect using my hip curve. I'm going to connect this 1 inch back to my crotch line this way. Can we see that? So every of my measurements goes this way now from this 1 inches. And here, so my round measurement here is 27. 27 divided by 2 is 13.5. Am I correct? Yeah, 13.5. 13.5. 13.5. So this is 13.5. I will now connect it this way from the crouch here, connect it to my 13.5, and this is what we'll have. This is what we'll have. This is the front panel of our shorts. Front panel. This is our front panel. Fully drafted. Full. So let me briefly go over it again. This is our waistline, our hip, our crouch, and our full length. Here, instead of placing our waist divided by 4, we made use of our hip divided by 4 without allowance. This is our front panel, and we are not adding any allowance to the front panel. The material is stretchy. I don't want adding any allowance in the front panel. All our allowance will be at the back panel. Here on the hip line, we did hip divided by 4, which gave us 12.5. We placed it equally at the crouch depth and made an extension to accommodate our thigh. Most persons, that their thigh is bigger than their hip. On my case, my thigh is bigger than my hip. So you have to make this to accommodate the thigh and your sitting allowance. So that is what we did here to this point. Like, you know what we did. So we are going to cut now. But before we do that, please don't misunderstand what I'm trying to say. In every shot making, this extension must be there. Whether your hip is bigger than your thigh or not, in most cases, thighs are always bigger than the hip. Why? The hip is divided by 4, but the thigh is divided by 2. Are we together? Some persons will come down here by 2 inches, 2.5 or 3 inches to place this thigh measurement and connect here. But I prefer doing my own this way. Another thing I'm going to do before we cut here is I'm going to slope here by half an inch. I'm sloping here by half an inch, and I'll connect it back to this point. So this is what we'll have. We are going to cut it now and draft our back panel. So this is what we'll have now. This is our front panel. We're going to use it to draft the back panel immediately. So to draft our back panel, we'll place our front panel this way. Secure it with your masking tape. Secure it with your masking tape. There's not much difference between the front and the back, just a little alterations. So the first thing we are going to do is this. Firstly, at this crouch depths, those crouch depths over here, make an extension this way. Your hip line, your waistline, extend everything this way. At the waistline, for your butt lifts, you go up by 2 inches, 2.5, 1.5, depending on your body size. So you raise the front by 2. Okay, let me say 2.5. You know, I already went down here by half inch, so I'll raise it by 2.5. But on this edge, I'll do 2 inches. I'll connect it. I'm connecting it just to guide me. This line is not actually necessary because the real connection is coming this way. Then at this point, which means this is the line we had. I'm going to add allowance. Remember, we didn't add any allowance to the front panel. Both the sewing and the sitting allowance, I'll be adding it here. I'll be making use of the waist. Okay, because of the elastic, I'll be making use of 1.5. At the hip area here, I'll add 2 inches. At the crouch, I'll add 2 inches this way. I'm going to connect it back to the, see where we have our new mark. I'm going to connect it back to those points. You see, I said here is not necessary. We are going to cut this out. I'm going to connect it back here. Now I'm going to use my rule. Okay, I'll make a line, straight line, the way we did in the front, this way, and then create that curve we created in the front for your crouch. Can we see that? Can we see that? Then coming down here, I will equally extend the line the full length. I'm adding 2 inches. 2 inches allowance over here, this way, and just like I did earlier, I will connect it back. Perfect. And our back is ready. Our back panel is ready. So let's cut it together. Watch me. Watch how I do the cutting. Let me separate the masking tape. Masking tape that is holding it together. So this is it. This is it. Back panel. This is the back. This is the front. Please do well to subscribe and click on the notification button to get notified whenever I post any other video. I'll be dropping a tutorial on how I sewed this pants very soon. Yes, possibly next week. Today is a Sunday, if a Saturday, yeah, next week. Please subscribe and click on the notification button. Thank you. So to input the front dart, you're going to have a dart in the front panel. To do that, you measure what you have left here. I have 12 inches divided into 2. You have 6. Here is 6. The dart is going to come down by 4 inches. It's ending here. So I'll rule a straight line this way. Take ½ inch from this side, ½ inch from this other side, and connect it down to the 4 inches. So this is our front dart. It's going to be in the front panel. This shirt is going to have a side pocket. To impute that, come to the waistline and measure at least from 1.5, 2 inches to 2.5. I'm going to take 2.5. Then come down this way. 7 is a standard for an adult. 7 inches. Roll it this way. For our pockets, the side pockets, cut it out like this. This is not needed anymore. So this is how our front panel is going to be on your fabric, you draft it exactly this way. I'll be dropping a video very soon on how I sewed this short pants. Thank you for watching. Bye.